When I was 27 years old, I left a very demanding job in management consulting for a job that was even more demanding, teaching. I went to teach 7th grade math in the New York City public school. And I like any teachers. I made quiz and tests, I gave out homework assignment. When the work came back, I calculate grades. What struck me was that IQ was not the only difference between my best and my worst student. Some of my strongest performers did not have stratospheric IQ score. Some of my smart kids were not doing so well. And that got me thinking. The kinds of things you need to learn in 7th grade math, sure, they hard, ratios, decimal, the area of parallelogram, but these concepts are not impossible. And I was firmly convinced that every one of my students who could learn the material if they work hard and long enough. After several more years of teaching, I came to the conclusion that we need in the education is a much better understanding of student and learning from a motivational perspective, from a psychological perspective. In education, the one thing we know how to measure best is IQ. But what if doing well in the school and in life depends on much more than your ability to learn quickly and easily? So I left the classroom and I went to graduate school to become a psychologist. I started studying kids and adults in all kinds of super challenging settings. And in every study, my question was, who is successful here and why? My research team and I went to West Point Military Academy. We tried to predict which cadets would stay in military training and which would drop out. We went to the National Spelling Bee and tried to predict which children would advance further in competition. We studied rookie teachers working in really tough neighborhoods, asking which teacher are still going to be here in teaching by the end of the school year, and of those who will be the most effective at improving learning outcome for their students. We partnered with private companies asking which of the salespeople is going to keep their jobs and who's going to earn the most money. In all those very different contexts, one characteristic emerged as a significant predictor of success. And it was not social intelligence, it was not good looks, physical health, and it was not IQ, it was greed. Greed is a passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. Greed is having stamina. Greed is sticking with your future day in, day out, not just for the week, not just for the month, but for years. And working really hard to make that future a reality. Greed is living life like it's a marathon, not a sprint. A few years ago, I started studying grade in the Chicago public school. I asked thousands of high school juniors to take grade questionnaires and then wait around more than a year to see who would graduate. Turns out that greedier kids were significantly more likely to graduate, even when I matched them on every characteristic. I would measure things like family income, standards, achievement test score, even how safe kids felt when they were at school. So it's not just a West Point or the National Spelling Bee. That grade matter is also in school, especially for kids at risk for dropping out. To me, the most shocking thing about grade is how little we know how little science know about bullying it. Every day, parents and teachers ask me, how do I build grit in kids? What do I do to teach kids a solid work ethic? How do I keep the motivation for the long run? The honest answer is, I don't know. What I do, what I do know is that talent doesn't make you gritty. Our data show very clearly that there are many individuals who simply do not follow through on their commitments. In fact, in our data, grit is usually unrelated or even inversely related in measure of talent. So far, the best idea I have heard about building grit in kids is something called growth mindset. This is an idea developed at Stanford University by Carol Dweck, and it is the belief that the ability to learn is not fixed, that it can change with your effort. Dr. Dweck has shown that when kids read and learn about the brain and how it changes and grows its response to challenge, they, they are much more likely to persevere when they fail because they don't believe that failure is a permanent condition. So, growth mindset is a great idea for building grit, but we need more. That was where I'm going to end my remarks because that that's where we are. That's the work that stands before us. We need to take our best ideas, our strongest intuition, and we need to test them. We need to measure whether we have been successful, and we have to be willing to fail, to be warned, to start over again with lessons learned. In other words, we need to greedy about getting our kids greedier. Thank you.